So Dr. Donald Lopez at the University of Michigan, who has done an amazing amount of work in the field of Buddhism, including editing the Princeton Dictionary of Buddhism, he taught a class, or teaches a class at the University of Michigan, which actually was my alma mater, and in the class he puts a focus on the Lotus Sutra. So I created a video called Student Challenges to the Lotus Sutra, which was related to his book about the Lotus Sutra. And of course, we know that in the Lotus Sutra there are many, many parables. So anyhow, this individual who listens to my channel posed this question. He said, on the issue of parables and how it relates to the sutras, do you think it is a correct interpretation to read the Mahayana sutras as parables? The Lotus Sutra itself says the Buddha teaches by means of parable and analogy. So if the Mahayana sutras are the Buddha's, quote, ultimate, close quote, teaching, particularly the Lotus, they must themselves be some kind of parable or analogy. Or maybe not just parables, but skillful means. I guess another way of saying it is that if all teachings are skillful means, then so too are the Mahayana sutras. The only difference is that Mahayana sutras elucidate in a self-aware way this provisionality of teaching. Here's a relevant quotation from the Zen teaching of Huang Po. Quote, so it is said that all that the Tathagata taught was to convert people. It was like pretending yellow leaves are real gold just to stop the flow of a child's tears. It must by no means be regarded as though it were ultimate truth. If you take it for truth, you are no member of our sect. And what bearing can it have on your original substance? Close quote. And then this individual said to me, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. So I shared in reply, I said, I think you are absolutely correct, my friend. The problem is that no words, concepts, treatises, commentaries, philosophies, parables, or sutras can describe reality in a completely accurate manner. As it is said, they are like the finger pointing at the moon, not the moon itself. I like the term skillful means. The Buddha, out of compassion, could not simply remain silent in his realization. That said, if he were to wish to communicate in any manner that involves words and sentences rather than merely with a smile or a gesture, he would have to share the best approximations of his insights via verbal or written teachings. These are, after all, what humans most easily can, quote, grasp. Hopefully, with the outcome that in the end, they will see that the grasping itself is the problem, and understand that these teachings, as profound as they may be, do not represent ultimate truth. The beauty of the Mahayana Sutras, as contrasted to the articulation of other spiritual traditions, is precisely as you say, namely that they, quote, elucidate in a self-aware way this provisionality of teaching, close quote. Thank you so much for your comment. So this really hits upon a crucial point, and it's part of why I so revere the Lotus Sutra, because the focus in Chapter 2 and throughout much of the Sutra, as is indicated by the author Pai, who I've been reciting from recently, has to do with skillful means. And in the Prajnaparamita Sutra, in 8,000 lines that I'm working on now, it's interesting that where the Buddha references the 6 paramitas, which are the classical bodhisattva practices, also is mentioned skillful means. And I believe this is also mentioned in the Avatamsaka when the attributes of bodhisattvahood are being articulated by the authors of that sutra. So skillful means is, to my mind, a core, very much of a critical fundamental concept within Mahayana Buddhism, and not only helps explain some of the contradictions between teachings that the Buddha gave perhaps at different times or in different places, but also helps and gives an appreciation for the breadth of Mahayana Buddhism in being able to encompass explanatory concepts relative to many, many religions and spiritual paths beyond the scope of Buddhism itself. Namo Meetaboots. Namo Meetaboots. Namo Meetaboots.